Do you know what is the most basic tactic used in Padel? The answer is simple, the Australian formation. But why is it done? What are its strengths and weaknesses? What tricks do pro players do? Hello to all players, I'm Pablo and I welcome you to a new 4Set. In Padel we find the technical, mental, physical and tactical part of the game. And probably you have been using the Australian formation without knowing why, or even think that you are forced to play this way. So let's first understand what the Australian formation is. The main goal of this tactic is when it is our turn to serve to keep the same position on the court. This way each player of the couple will always play on the same side. But the standard way of serving is not like this. The standard way is when it is your turn to serve, your partner switches sides. In this way, sometimes you will attack on the left and sometimes on the right. And this is important because when we need to return our opponent's serve, we will always have to return on the same side. Why? Well, according to the rules, we cannot change the return side during the same set. And according to the rules, if you are subscribed to this channel, you will start every match with one set in favor. But what happens when you play with a lefty partner? In Padel, lefties must play on the right side of the court whenever they play with a right-handed player. In this way, both players will cover the middle of the court with their forehand. And to do this, we must use the Australian formation. Where should each player be positioned to do this tactic? Imagine that you are playing on the right side of the court and you have to serve to the opponent player on the right side. As our partner plays on the left side, we can position ourselves wherever we want because we have to run straight and the position we have to reach is relatively close. Now imagine that you are playing on the right side of the court and you have to serve to the opponent player on the left side. As our partner plays on the left side, we should position ourselves as close to the middle of the court as possible to reduce the distance we have to run. A common mistake is to position ourselves in the wrong place and increase the distance we have to cover or even reduce our angle. What happens if our partner is the one who has to serve? When serving on the natural side of the court, we will focus on covering our parallel and helping in the middle. But when our partner has to run more meters, he will try to get as soon as possible to the parallel, which is the uncovered area. So we will have to cover the middle and practically forget about our side, although this will vary depending on where our partner serves to. Because in each serve we have three different options. We can serve to the glass, to the body or to the middle. Depending on where we serve, our opponents will have more or less options to direct his return. If we serve to the glass, our opponent will have an easier time directing the ball parallel or to the middle. If we serve to the body, our opponent will be able to direct the ball almost anywhere. And if we serve to the middle, our opponent will have an easier time directing the ball to the middle or cross court. Think that if we are a right side player and we have to serve to the opponent's left side player, if we serve to the glass, he will probably try to make a parallel to us. Therefore, we must be quick and cover the court as soon as possible. However, if we are not very fast, it would be safer in this case to direct our serve to the body or to the middle to reduce the chances of a possible parallel return. Remember, the goal of the Australian formation is that each player of the couple plays all the time in the same side of the court. So what are the main benefits of using this tactic? First of all, the comfort. If we get used to playing on the same side of the court, we will feel more comfortable both attacking and defending. We will be able to better understand the rebound on the walls, the directions where the ball can come from and where we can direct it to. To sum up, we will be able to be more productive playing Padel, because if we specialize in one side of the court, we will be able to win more points more easily. An example of this is Paquito Navarro, one of the best Padel players in the world. All his life he has been playing on the left side of the court until at the end of last season where he decided to change and play on the right side of the court. However, his bet didn't work out as he expected and in the end he went back to playing on the left side. Look at what he said after a game playing on the right side with his teammate El Gato Tello.
Tapa mucho mejor. Y yo si no le puedo pegar con viento, mi víbora es una porquería. Y el gato, como arma más plano, le corre la bola de derecha. Y yo desde el revés tengo el rulo, el amague, tal, hago más cosas, porque es mi naturalidad. Entonces, es buenísimo que de vez en cuando gato juega a la derecha. Por norma general, igual no, pero que esté. Sí.
Another benefit of always playing on the same side of the court is the ability to generate more tactics, especially when you play with the same partner. And this is the case of pro players. By always being positioned on the same side, they can develop tactics to implement in matches more easily than if they change sides. However, the Australian formation has also some weaknesses that we need to know. First of all, to be able to play with this tactic, we need a minimum of physical condition and speed, because the biggest handicap is when we serve and we need to run cross-court to cover the parallel. If we are not fast enough or we can hold the whole game like this, we will have a big problem. On the other hand, we also need a minimum of tactical and technical level. Playing with the Australian formation requires a specific positioning on the court, both from the player that serves and his partner. If the player that don't serve is not well positioned on the court, we will have a big problem too. In addition, playing with the Australian formation can make us worse players. Are you sure that the side you play on is the right choice? What will happen if you train more on the other side? Would you get better than on your current side? We need to learn to play on both sides to really find out which side is our best. Also, playing on both sides, we will understand which shots are possible to do from one side and which are not. We will better understand what our partner can and cannot do. In short, we will understand Padel better. Also, it is very common that sometimes you will have to play with someone that is also used to play on the same side as you. Would you rather not be a horrible player? Play on both sides. Another important weakness about the Australian formation is about the opponents. If our opponents detect any of our weaknesses, it would be easy for them to do the Nevera or the freezer tactic. So if we don't do any tactical change like a side change, we will make life easier for our opponents. In my case, I can say that right now I am playing and training on the right side of the court. But I have been playing on the left side of the court for about 6 years before. But at the same time, when I started playing Padel, I did it on the right. So I can say that I feel comfortable on both sides, and I think this new adaptation to the right side is giving me many new things to learn. But now let's take a look at some important tricks. According to the rules, at the moment of bouncing the ball to serve, the bounce has to be behind the white line on your side of the court. But it doesn't say anything about where the impact of the ball has to be. So we can gain a few centimeters of angle if our bounce is directed to our side. Another very simple trick is to change the speed of the ball. The faster you serve, the faster the return will come to you. And if you don't have time to cover the parallel playing with Australian formation, serve with a lower speed so you can reach the ball in time. There is a crazy alternative to the Australian formation that is called the Basque formation. It's similar to beach volley, giving information to your partner to direct the serve correctly and then try to confuse your opponent on the return. I have never seen it in a professional match, but it's curious. I asked two friends who have been professional tennis players about the difference of the Australian formation in tennis compared to Padel.
So in tennis, you will get a lot of volume of balls that go not just down the middle, but also in the alleys. The lefty usually is on the right side, the same way as in Padel. There's another reason, which is in tennis you have more time, so you will see a lot of players getting the inside-out forehand. If they have a backhand with low confidence, they still have enough time to get around and hit the forehands, which in Padel doesn't happen a lot.
In Padel, we are going to try to have our forehands in the middle, because most of the volume of the balls are going to come through the middle. So if we have our best shot, which usually is going to be the forehand volley, it's better to have both forehand volleys on the middle than rather have them on the outside. So that's why it's going to be kind of similar to play with the backhands outside, but the reason it's going to be different.
Do you have any doubts about the Australian formation? Leave it in the comments and thank you for watching the video. See you in the next one. Ciao!